normally when you watch a bad movie, you can kind of be like, oh, they could have done this and it would have been better. They could have gone this way. But this movie is just so bad. I don't even know how they could have fixed it. I don't know what they could have done differently to make this movie good. But yeah, so this is one of, I guess, his directorial debut, you could say.
I'm going to say it wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
A great debut.
At the ending, they kind of purposely don't explain what's going on. So you're kind of left to interpret all this fucking mess of a movie. And it's like, I don't even care at that point.
All right, from the top.
Playhouse Reviews. Warning, this video contains in-depth movie reviews and film discussions, which include movie spoilers of key plot points and may ruin the viewing pleasure of audiences listening to this podcast who have not yet seen these films. The Playhouse brothers highly recommend watching these films before listening to this episode to ensure your listening experience enjoyment levels are maximized. If you do not care about having movie endings spoiled, please disregard this message and proceed with listening. All right. Hello, YouTube. Well, we got another great episode of Playhouse Reviews for you today. I'm expert movie reviewer Jamie.
And I'm not expert movie reviewer Charlie.
So this week's episode, we got two very great, well, one very great, one not so great movie. We're talking about Slaxx, a nice little B-horror movie about a killer pair of jeans, as well as Happily, starring the Soup Man. Yeah.
So before we get into these, do you have any other movies you watched this week that you want to talk about?
I did. I watched Boss Level, which was from the same director that made Smokin' Aces. And
I do like Smokin' Aces.
Yeah, Smokin' Aces had some kind of ridiculous action. It's kind of similar in the sense that like in Smokin' Aces, there was like a bunch of hitmen and stuff trying to kill some like the big boss. In this one, it's similar, but instead it's just kind of like a normal ex-Marines guy who's being like tracked down by like 5 or 6 assassins. But the twist is he's stuck in the same day over and over again. So every time he gets killed by like one of those assassins, he just wakes up again and has to do it all over again. So he just is going through the day over and over again.
Another Groundhog Day type movie.
Exactly. The concept has been done a million times. Mm-hmm. It wasn't a great movie, but the action was kind of silly. It kind of had like Deadpool type action where it's like almost like a video game. It's kind of like silly, over the top violence, kind of dumb, self-aware stuff. But it was okay. It was entertaining to say the least.
Unfortunately, whenever you say the name of it, I just think of Boss Baby, and then I just can't take it seriously though.
Yeah. Yeah. The best part about, I mean, Boss Baby is a great movie, but the best part about Boss Level is that you just get to watch him die over and over again in ridiculous ways. Like there's one part where he's trying to fight this girl who has a sword. She's like a sword expert, and then he just gets his head chopped off like 10 times and just keeps showing him getting decapitated.
Had a hard time beating that level, I guess.
Yeah, it took him a while. What about you? Did you watch anything good this week?
So I have a couple things to talk about. First, I want to talk about The Toll. It's one of those trapped on a road horror movies where it's just like two people on a road, and when they try to leave, it just like loops them back to where they started from.
Like Dead End, right?
Yeah, but not as good. I thought this one was pretty boring, and it tried to do some like psychological stuff, but it didn't work. There's like a dumb twist at the end, which is like whatever. I don't know. I felt like it's not interesting because like there's like a guy stalking them, and he kind of just tells them what to do to escape, and then they just like keep not doing it because it's too spooky for them. But then at the end of the movie, they do it, and then the girl gets away. So I don't know. Dead End was better. I didn't think this was great.
Yeah, well, because Happily, the film we're going to be talking about a little later, has some psychological, like sci-fi horror elements to it. Was it better than Happily?
I mean, at least this one, I feel like it knew that it was a horror movie. With Happily, I didn't know if it was like a comedy, a drama, or a horror movie, but I'm sure we'll get into that later.
Oh yeah, we will for sure.
And then I'm not trying to turn this movie review into a TV show review channel, but I did watch the Dota Dragon's Blood animated series on Netflix, and
did you finish it?
I watched it all in one day.
Oh hell yeah.
I mean, it's only eight 20-minute episodes, so it's just like the same as the Snyder Cut, but it was pretty good. But I'm a big Dota fan, so of course I loved it. I can't really imagine non-Dota people enjoying it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask. Does it work on its own thing? Like if you don't know who any of the
I
characters
mean,
are or play the game?
it does, but the show was very ambitious. So there's like a lot of characters and a lot going on. And like I said, it's only 8 20-minute episodes. So I feel like it would be really hard to follow just because like each character like is introduced to their backstory. They have like these other characters that they interact with. And it's just a lot going on where there's like this whole like war between humans and elves, and then some like gods come and are doing things, and then like the main characters have their own struggles. And I feel like,
So it's like Lord of the Rings.
yeah, but like if you got all of the Lord of the Rings movies smashed into the first movie, maybe
Ah, okay.
there's just too much going on.
I see.
But I mean, the animation was cool. Like the story is like fine. The characters are pretty cool, but
Good action.
yeah, good action. They like fight a lot of dragons and stuff. So,
Oh.
and it's pretty brutal too. Like people just get like murdered, and it's bloody, and they're swearing.
Nice. I might check it out. I'm not a Dota player, but if the
Well,
anime's good enough, maybe it's never too late to start, is it?
Yeah, I mean the studio that animated it is the same people who did like Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. So I know
Oh, nice.
they have
Yeah.
a lot of fans. So I know that's probably where a lot of the outside Dota people are coming from, or fans of those series. So
Yeah. Well, Avatar's really good, so check it out then. I'll have to check it out.
yeah, I think it's worth watching, and it's not too long, especially since we're all stuck in quarantine still.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get out of this quarantine pandemic soon.
I know I'm gonna give you a big kiss on the lips soon once COVID's over.
And I'm a little worried. I mean, I'm glad we can just blast each other with our mouth particles and infect each other willy-nilly, but I'm also going to be sad I'm not going to have an excuse to stay inside and watch movies all day. I'm going to have to think up of like normal things to tell people or like normal lies to stay inside and watch more movies.
I can't watch movies while I'm working if I have to go to the office.
I know.
I hope none of my coworkers see this.
Yeah. Anyway, so was there anything else you watched, or should we jump into Slaxx?
No, I watched some TV shows, but I don't.
None
it's
worth
whatever.
mentioning.
Not worth mentioning. Let's get into some Slaxx with two
get into
X's.
Slaxx for two X's, a movie about killer genes. So, what was your first impressions upon finishing this movie?
So I really enjoyed this movie, especially since I feel like it was like a very, very low budget horror movie. The acting was like good, like it wasn't like anything amazing, but it was solid. It was like pretty clever. I felt like it was clever with how little budget they had, with the death scenes and like just the pants being silly. And then it's like that whole satire where it's making fun of like corporate America or like working in retail. I love any of that kind of stuff too. So I thought it was hilarious. Yeah.
And like the just kind of like the fast fashion and consumerism
Yeah.
stuff too.
Well, I just thought it was funny 'cause-
ethical businesses that aren't really ethical. They just claim to be because they know that's what like Western Americans want. in their
Yeah,
companies.
yeah. Well, I just thought it was funny because I was changing internet providers that morning, and then they kept saying, "Oh, welcome to our family, welcome to our family." And then that night, I watched that movie, and then that was their whole spiel too. Is welcome to the, I forget what the name of the company was in the movie, but welcome to their family.
Yeah, if anyone listening has worked a corporate office job at a kind of bigger company, I think they would appreciate that humor.
Yeah, and retail too, because I just thought it was so funny how like, oh, we're family and we love each other, but as soon as they go in like the back rooms, it says like employee theft. It's like punishable by death and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, they say that's like part of the family, but like they just are so quick to exploit the workers at
Yeah.
every step of the way and just completely take advantage.
And then like the one girl dies, and he's like, no, we have to protect the brand. It doesn't matter. We can do it after like the big promotion.
I know, yeah, they wanted to launch their new promotional thing before they were called the police. Oh yeah, that was great. It was very silly. So I did a little bit of research on it, and then the director, what was her name? Elsa Keppert. She said that the inception of the movie came to her when she was like in her early 20s with a friend, and they kept on like they'd have a silly word game where they would like come up with words that were really annoying, and one of them was Slaxx. So on like a road trip, they just kept saying Slaxx over and over again to make their one friend mad, and then eventually it just kind of turned into an idea of like a killer pants movie, kind of like I guess Rubber with like a killer tire or something.
Well, I
And
mean,
then,
I'm pretty sure there's a Dr. Seuss story about pale green pants, and they just
oh, there is.
they
Yeah.
just like stalk some kid. They don't murder anyone, but it kind of reminded me of
Yeah.
that.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, dude, Dr. Seuss, he knew what was up with the killer pants, I guess. But yeah, then it just kind of evolved over time. They're trying to make it like into a movie and a screenplay, and went through a bunch of edits. So it was kind of, I guess, that director's one of their passion projects they had in their brains for a long time.
Yeah, I think this is their first movie they directed too. I saw on IMDb they had some shorts, but I think this was the first feature-length film.
Well, it was good. It was well made. I couldn't actually find what the budget was for it.
Yeah, I was
but,
looking for that too because I'm always curious, especially after like One Cut of the Dead, where the whole movie was like on 20,000 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, it looked really well. It was a well-made movie. It had a good balance of horror and comedy, and it also did the social commentary on like consumerism well. And so often, especially in low-budget horror movies, when they try to do that, it's awful. I mean, best point in case is our classic favorite reference, Masters of Horror. If you ever watch that series, every episode is pretty much terrible, and it's all trying to make a commentary, but they're just bad.
Well, it's not like the commentary is not like in your face too. It kind of just like there's no like exposition of them telling you how bad consumerism is and how you shouldn't exploit your workers. They just show it in the movie. Like now that you mentioned Masters of Horror, I think of the one where the war veterans come back from the dead to vote, and it's like, okay, yeah, we get the message. We get the message.
Yeah, that one was crazy. That was barely even. I don't even think zombies really ate that many people in it. I think like the whole movie is just them like walking to the voting booths and about them trying to get rights and stuff.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like the politicians debating if zombie votes counted for real votes.
Yeah. I mean, I get what they're going for, but God, it was so poorly done. Yeah, Masters of War. Whew. That was a trip. But the main actress I saw, she's French Canadian actually.
Is that the like younger girl that just gets the job?
Yeah, Libby, I think was her name in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was in another movie. I think it was called like Slut in a Good Way or something. But it was like a black and white movie that was all in French. I hadn't seen it, but
it sounds like wow, the opposite of the role in this one, where she's like the innocent, naive teen that's excited to be joining this fashion company.
Yeah, but I did not notice her accent at all. I mean, either Canadian or French. So
yeah, well, I
to
feel
her.
like
She did a great job. It was well acted.
I liked all the acting for like a low budget horror movie. I feel like everyone, like a lot of the characters are kind of like one note, but I mean that was fine. It's not like any one character had a lot of screen time anyways, and it was fun watching her and the other girl like run around and hide from pants.
Yeah, and I feel like the characters, some of them were kind of one note, but I mean, it was enough to like introduce the character, establish them as being kind of like dumb or brainwashed by corporate, and then they usually just got murdered after like the next scene.
Exactly.
They weren't really more than 2 scenes for the most part.
Yeah, it's kind of like an introduction, and then maybe like one line quickly, and then they get killed.
It was good. I think my favorite death scene was when the Asian guy tried to put on the jeans and like it like bit off his hands and then like I think he like tried to like chew off its head or some stuff. It was so ridiculous and over the top.
I really like the scene too when they go in like the back closet and like all the pants are just like eating the body slowly in the corner.
Well, even just when the pants were like slithering around on the ground too, like it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, I liked it when they saw like the security cam footage of like the pants like crawling around.
Yeah, I thought this movie was going to be so stupid based on the premise, but it was done well. I was very surprised. It was very enjoyable.
Wanted to point out when I watched it, it had 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Now, I think it's dropped to like a 98% when we're recording this, but I was like, oh man, I feel like if it's doing that well for a movie this low budget, I gotta watch it.
That or just no one's watched it yet and they just rated, the one person rated it.
No,
the director.
It had like 42 critic reviews, so that's pretty good for this type of movie.
It's good. I feel like for a B horror movie, especially one of the director's firsts, you can't really get much better than this.
Yeah,
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
For B horror fans out there, ooh.
Yeah. I
good
feel like
stuff.
what it was missing though, since they kind of had like the Bollywood joke a couple of times, it really needed one of those, a bunch of pants doing a really intricate Bollywood dance, choreographed dance together. I feel like that really would have elevated this movie to the next level.
Yeah, oh, especially at the end where they were all coming alive, all the
Yeah,
different
like they
pants and
really needed
stuff.
to like do like a. I thought what I thought was gonna happen is like when all the customers, like when the store opened and all the customers ran in, all the pants would be doing a Bollywood dance, and I thought that would be like the funniest thing. But
I mean, they had the one. I mean, they had one pair of pants doing the dance, but it would have been
yeah,
good to see more dancing. I
but
did
I
enjoy the dance. It was very silly.
yeah, I love those like ridiculous like choreographed Bollywood dances. So I feel like I would have really enjoyed that, but maybe, I mean, probably budget problems since they could only get one pair of dancing pants.
Yeah, they only had one puppet green suit man for a day to do the dancing, so that was the one scene they could do. Yeah, the only problem that I really noticed with this movie, I mean, there's some other things because it's low budget, but the biggest one that stood out to me, at least plot wise. So when they were locked down, because when the first couple people died, the manager's like, "Oh, we can't even call the police anyway. There's no cell reception because we're in lockdown."
Yeah.
And then like they opened the lockdown at like midnight for the girl to come in, but then like when they were trying to escape after a bunch more people got killed, it went back into lockdown. So I was like, wait, so were they supposed to be in lockdown the whole time and they just lifted it, or were they not actually in lockdown at the beginning and then it went back into lockdown?
No, so what happened was that one like YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
So it lockdown ended for 5 minutes for her to come in. Then they went back in lockdown for an hour, and then when she was supposed to leave, the lockdown ended for only 5 minutes again.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, yeah.
I see. I didn't pick up on that.
Well, I feel like they
complicated plot
talked about
detail.
it a whole bunch, but then it never really did anything. They just had like that one. They just ran to the door. I don't know.
It was just kind of a tease, I guess,
Yeah,
to kind of give
yeah.
them hope. Had something happen.
It was missing my favorite trope. They needed to introduce a new character just to kill them. They needed like a Paul Blart to come in and just get murdered right away.
I mean, they kind of did that with the influencer girl who was all about
Yeah,
fashion.
yeah.
Yeah, at least they gave each of the characters a little bit of personality, like all the workers and stuff.
Yeah, like the
They
one.
didn't just kill people just to kill them.
Yeah, I mean that's always my thing for like horror movies, where I like it when they have like at least a little bit of personality. Like the one manager girl was like kind of just like bitchy, doesn't have time for anyone else, and then the other girl was just like an annoying consumer girl that just was there to play on her phone.
Yeah. Oh, it was good. And then the one death scene, the first one in the bathroom, it reminded me of because the girl got like kind of halved or something because she was wearing the pants and they kept squeezing her. It reminded me of that Squee comic where the kid has to go pee and then he goes into the stall at the gas station and there's like that guy who has
Yeah.
like dookie blood coming out in the stall. But yeah, that was great.
Yeah, yeah.
What was your favorite death scene in this one?
I mean, when the guy's hands got eaten, that was pretty ridiculous. I mean,
That was good too.
I love those just like cheap splatter effects, like Dead Alive style.
Yeah, no, it was good. It didn't look too fake. Like it looked good for B horror blood.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
and
definitely.
they were clever with the deaths too. I don't think I've really seen people get murdered.
Yeah,
Pants
I mean, it
like
looks
that before.
it looked a lot better than like the CGI blood that a lot of like the like Blumhouse movies have.
Oh,
where
yeah.
I just hate the CGI blood. I just
Yeah, whenever I see CGI blood, that just reminds me of like Sci-Fi Channel movies, just like these really low budget ones, or like the movies aren't really color corrected, or they're like really ugly grays or blue shades, and then the fake blood splatters like on the camera and stuff.
yeah,
And it's just
yeah.
like, oof,
I don't like that.
not a fan. But you know, we love the practical effects though.
Definitely, definitely. I really liked the manager guy in this movie. He was so annoying. I feel like he played the role so well of like an annoying manager guy.
Oh yeah, he was a horrible boss. He was so ridiculous.
He's like hiding in the room and he doesn't want to let them in and stuff like
No,
that.
he sucked so much. Oh yeah, he was funny. I don't know. I think Yeah, I think he was probably my favorite. He's the most interesting of the characters. Even though he was the bad guy, they did a good job with him. He was not
Yeah.
likable. He was just horrible and terrible.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it
He
was so funny when
interesting.
he was trying to convince the girl how like they have to hide the body because they don't want to ruin the promotion, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you don't have to like pay your like clothing fees this month if you help me out hiding this body."
Oh yeah, it's like oh yeah, if you hide the body, you'll get your employee discount for now
Yeah.
instead of having to wait. That was so good. Yeah, there was a lot of funny bits like that.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I just love like the like anti corporate stuff where it's like it's not actually ethical. We use a contractor company so we don't know who our employees are. Like wink wink.
Yeah, just that very careful like corporate Texan what you can and can't
Yeah.
say.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of how it is. You just hire like a contractor and then they do the work. So then technically you're not liable because oh, you don't know who this contractor works. The contractor said it's ethical business.
Yeah. Well, that's then it gets into it. Yeah, that's what's kind of like the movie's funny and just kind of a silly horror movie, but it does kind of get into that stuff. Like these things do happen. Like
Yeah.
there are clothing companies that definitely have like child labor or abuse their workers, and like that's why in fast fashion the clothes are so cheap because
Yeah.
most likely they're not being made ethically.
Yeah. What
So,
was their tagline? It was like making a better tomorrow today.
Yeah. Yeah, making it better tomorrow today.
I love that because it's just like the most cheesy thing that you would see on like an ad.
Oh, yeah, I would definitely could see that being like some
Yeah.
corporate manifesto or something.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it was good, and then they tied in kind of because the lady like the reason the pants were possessed was because of like a child worker that died while
Yeah.
getting the cotton in India, and they did a good job of tying that into the main girl, not Libby, the other Indian actress.
Uh,
I forget her name though.
I Shihar Bojani.
Yes,
I thought she was pretty funny.
She was good. She was
was-
the only one who like wasn't terrible and seemed like she didn't drink
Yeah.
corporate Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and I kind of liked like her sassiness. I feel like it wasn't like over the top or it was annoying. It just kind of like fit her rocking out to her metal music and occasionally Bollywood music.
But I think that was good because they did a good job of kind of like slowly establishing the pants because they're like possessed evil pants. They're tied to India as well as her tie, and then that kind of really I feel like that kind of brought the two plots together and just helped tie everything, make it seem a little neater. So it was well thought out. It wasn't just
and
kind of randomness.
Yeah, and I love the scene where she's just like folding clothes, rocking out, and then the singing, and then the pants start dancing behind her.
Dancing pants.
I thought that was really funny. Usually that kind of stuff I think is really stupid, but it really worked in this one. With the
Yeah.
stupid, I mean, it's still stupid, but it was funny stupid.
Yeah. It's not like stupid like I don't know, Tom and Jerry or something.
Yeah, well, it reminded me of Mars Attacks, where like that one stupid song is how they defeated the aliens.
Oh yeah. Oh, Mars Attacks. That is such a great movie. I completely forgot about Mars Attacks.
That's Jake's like favorite movie.
It's really good. I remember when we were kids, we had the little brain gun. Like you'd pull.
Oh,
the
yeah,
trigger
and, like, the brain on the top
Yeah, the
moved,
brain on the
yeah.
top that would glow and move.
That's a Tim Burton film, isn't it?
I don't recall.
I think it is, but I'm not 100%. We can edit it out if I'm wrong.
Well, let me see. Let me just check real quick. We got the internet. Mars Attacks, 1996. It was directed by Tim Burton, starring Jack Nicholson.
Peak Tim Burton.
Yeah, that was good.
Is Jack Nicholson in it?
That's the first name that comes up on IMDb.
Oh, I don't remember.
He's President James Dale. But yeah, no, this was a good movie. Mars Attacks was good, and Slaxx was good.
Yeah. So would you recommend this movie?
I would, yes, for anyone who likes B horror or appreciates horror, or anyone who likes horror comedy. This is good. I think B horror movie fans will like it. People who just are looking for kind of a silly, dumb horror movie, they would enjoy it too. Even people who aren't used to watching low budget movies, because the acting's pretty good, the death scenes are ridiculous, and it has some good jokes in it. So sometimes it looks good enough. It doesn't look bad, so I think that can kind of be a gateway for people who don't watch low budget horror movies too much. What about you? Would you recommend it?
Wait, one more question. How would you compare this movie to Freaky as a horror comedy?
I feel like Freaky's definitely feels higher budget because there's more locations and stuff.
Yeah.
Freaky is much more of a teen movie, though. So that movie has a lot more kind of like witty, quirky jokes go like pretty quick.
It's more like approachable.
Yeah. This one it's definitely smaller scale and it's stupider, but I don't know. They're both a similar vein they're both pretty solid horror comedies in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I love Vince Vaughn, so I'm gonna have to say I think I enjoyed Freaky a little bit more. But Freaky doesn't have it had some social commentary about like accepting like what your gender identity is and stuff. Mm-hmm. So that was good. This one's a little bit more of the corporate commentary.
Yeah, I think that's why it landed so hard with me because I love anything that's like making fun of like corporate lifestyle or like corporate like PR BS.
Yeah. I mean, both of them kind of have a similar gimmick. Like in Freaky, it's like Freaky Friday. They switch bodies, so teen girl and Vince Vaughn's body, which is hilarious. And this movie's like Killer Jeans. But they both take those ideas as seriously as you can and do something good with it. So, like, I think I enjoyed this more than Rubber because Rubber's just like a weird fucking.
Well, that's like that's like an art house. Yeah.
But this is much more accessible, and it's not super dumb. Like I don't know, like Evil Bong or something. It's not like so dumb and bad like that one is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But no Vince Vaughn.
No Vince Vaughn. You're right about that.
What about you? Would you recommend this movie?
Yeah, I'd recommend it. Same as you. It's a nice, just anyone who enjoys low budget horror movies. I'd say it's not as good as like Hatchet, but it's still solid. And way better than Tom and Jerry, which was also filmed only at one location. Yeah,
it's crazy how much they're able to do with this movie in one location compared to Tom and Jerry, which was just a hotel that was much bigger than this little tiny store. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they kept it interesting. I mean, they had like the main floor, which was like super bright and well lit and just looked like fake corporate mall place, which was interesting. Then they had like the bathroom, which they had some good death scenes in the bathroom, which was interesting. Then they had like the back warehouse, which was another environment for kind of the ending chase scene. So they mixed it up enough for visually it was interesting and you didn't get bored.
Each like room like plays a part where like in the Tom and Jerry it doesn't really matter where they are, it's just a hotel, but in this one each room has like a plot point where like people get killed in the bathroom, they hide in like the manager's room, the warehouse is like where all the pants are, and then like the main floor.
Yeah. And the main floor is so important. Oh, wait, one thing I thought was really funny I wanted to mention, too, is how they kept saying, like, oh, how's your ecosystem? Which is, like, whatever. I mean, like, oh, how's what is, like, your work-life balance or, like, your workload? Because they didn't want to say work, so they just said ecosystem. So, I was like, I thought that was so funny.
All of, like, the jargon that they used when they were, like, when the people working on the floor interacted like with the manager guy was like so funny.
And be like, 10-4, Hunter, how's your ecosystem? And it's like, can you go locate like Maddie in the back? Like, well, if I do, my ecosystem's gonna be out and I'll be behind. So I don't know. It was so good. And that was definitely a high point. Was all the satire on the corporate lifestyle stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was definitely my highlight. I mean, that's like I mentioned it in a previous episode. The Kentaro Sweets show on Netflix, and it's just making fun of like Japanese work culture. I love all that stuff.
Oh, that show's so good.
It's so funny. It's so stupid.
It's so dumb. He just wants to rush through his corporate salaryman job so he can go to as many sweets shops as possible. All right. Anything else you want to say about Slaxx?
No, I think we covered everything. Go out there, watch this movie, support these low budget horror movies so we can get some more of them.
Okay. Can you hear my hands?
Yeah.
Can you hear my hands rubbing together? We're getting warmed up. All right, we're warmed up and we're ready to talk about Happily, starring Joel McHale and Carrie Bichet.
Directed by Ben David Grabinski.
Ben David. And so I was really confused because I thought it was like Ben space, middle name, David Grabinski, upon hearing his name first. But it's actually Ben David, one word, but capital B and then a capital D. So Ben,
Dude,
no space, capital D, Avid.
is Elon Musk his dad? These weird names.
Yeah, it was very strange. So that guy, Ben David, what else did he do? What else did he direct?
Oh, I don't know. This movie made me so mad I didn't even
Oh
look him up.
no, there was something funny. So I remember now. I had to go back to IMDb's, but he did the screenplay for Skip Trace, the Johnny Knoxville Jackie Chan movie. And then
Is that the one on the train?
I don't know. I didn't actually watch it, so I have no idea if they're on a train.
I'm pretty sure I watched that. I think I watched it with Clarence.
Yeah, and then he wrote some of the reboot of Are You Afraid of the Dark, and then that's about it. That's about all he did. He directed one episode of Enormous. I have no idea what that is.
No idea what that is.
But yeah, so this is one of, I guess, his directorial debut, you could say.
I'm gonna
you
say it wasn't great.
It wasn't great.
A great debut.
All right, what was your biggest qualm with this film? What did you not enjoy?
It's another one of those movies where I didn't know what it was. I feel like I didn't know if it was like a horror movie, a comedy, or like a drama. And it's just kind of all over the place. And the jokes really did not work for me.
Yeah, like I'm fine with genre bending. Like it's okay if they have some like horror elements or comedy elements or a drama, but you have to be careful when you do it, because the problem was this movie started off kind of silly and with like jokes and weird sci-fi elements, but then by the end it was just like serious drama. But like the character, it was kind of a weird movie, like absurd like movie anyway. So like the characters weren't acting like normal people necessarily.
Yeah.
So like by the time at the end when the shit was getting real and you're expecting some big crazy climactic ending or something, it just goes normal drama. Like, oh, these people are just in a normal relationship and have problems. So it's like, why would you try to make a point and be serious, like as serious drama now, when the rest of the movie was taken so not seriously?
Well, yeah, I thought exactly it was going to be like one of those like on the run movies where like they murder the guy and then they're just going to be on the run and getting into all types of shenanigans for the whole movie. But once they get to like the house for the vacation, it's just like a completely tone change where now all of these characters that weren't introduced are like main characters, but you just like, they spent so much time on just the couple. It's like, why do I care about all these other characters? And they end up being pretty like important, I guess.
Yeah, I think they were. I mean, I guess from like the last scene where the guy's trying to explain what's actually going on, the guy from Barry, the TV show Barry, that's a great fucking show, starring Bill Hader. Definitely watch that. If we get anything out of this review of Happily, it's go watch Barry if you haven't seen it. That is an amazing show. Significantly better drama, better comedy, better act. Literally every single way you look at it, Barry's better.
I will happily watch Barry.
I will happily watch Barry, and I will be unhappy if I have to watch Happily again. But yeah, that guy, and I was sad, the guy from Barry, the weird teleporter FBI above FBI man, he was not in it enough. I like him. He didn't really do that much. But anyway, at the ending, they kind of purposely don't explain what's going on. So you're kind of left to interpret all this fucking mess of a movie, and it's like I don't even care at that point. I guess the main girl didn't either. So like, was that another like kind of like on the nose joke? Like, oh, as a viewer, I don't care what's happening either. Neither does the main girl, because she's so fucking over the movie that she's in. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. It's almost like it was trying to be a self-aware movie, but it just it's weird.
It's weird. Like the tone of the movie, I feel like is pretty funny, just because it's like so absurd, where it's just like all these annoying couples getting together and have like these weird interactions, but then they like force these jokes in, and I feel like they were trying to like emulate the Marvel movie, where they probably had like a test audience and they didn't think the movie was funny enough, so they just like edited in all these bad jokes, where the like absurdist of it is like the funny part, not these terrible jokes that they put in it.
Yeah, well, the whole movie, I mean, yeah, the weird jokes didn't land. Some of them were kind of funny, like the one where like some of, like when they were first introducing some of the friends, like that whole dynamic of how they didn't want to be invited there to the house. Like it's almost like they're going like Twilight Zone-esque, where it's like they're playing into like the social anxiety fears of like other couples liking you or trying to like be the perfect couple, but like I don't know. I guess it kind of takes a stance on it, but it's
Well,
like I
that's
just
the
don't
thing
care
though.
about the characters though. Like the jokes and the horror part like distract from the point of it being a couples focused
Yeah,
movie.
exactly. And you just never know where it's going to go next because, like I said, the beginning is just focused on the main couple with the soup guy.
Yeah.
And then they get to the house, and then it's kind of like a mystery where they're trying, like, okay, who set us up? Who is like the guy who pranked us? Then the third act, it's like, oh no, it's sci-fi now, and the first two acts don't really have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, it's like, oh, let's escape. And it's like, oh, we can't escape. Here's the big ending where let's just sit and talk
Yeah,
about our problems. It's like, what
yeah,
a,
it
I
was
don't know.
just
Well, it's like they had so many ways they could go. It's like, okay, the first part of the movie, just like kind of dumb, like romantic drama, or romantic comedy, I guess you could say. And then there's also like the creepy, like sci-fi elements. There's even a little bit of like psychological stuff to it too. Like you don't know
yeah.
if they're crazy or what's going on. So it's like, oh, are they gonna go like full ridiculous, silly ending? Are they gonna go straight horror? Are they gonna like I don't know do something kind of crazy and unexpected? And then it's like no, they just go like the most boring route possible. Like,
Yeah.
oh, let's just talk about it and like and then kind of get into the story of like some of the other couples who like aren't you don't even really give a shit about because they don't really do
Oh, yeah,
much
like that
other
one
than
guy,
have
they
bad
just
jokes.
yeah, they just pull out like that he like beat up his girlfriend like out of nowhere. That guy had like no lines the whole movie, and then they just like pull that out. It's
Yeah, and it's like
weird.
it's fine
Yeah.
if a movie wants to do that and get more serious, like on a serious note and like make a point, which I think the movie was trying to make some sort of point. It probably it went over my head. I'm not film educated enough to understand why this
I was
movie
pretty
was
checked
made.
out by the third act.
Yeah,
So,
it's either I didn't care or wasn't looking at the movie from the right lens because I was expecting like a comedy.
the trailer
horror.
definitely made it look like a comedy.
Yeah, but then like by the end when it got serious, I was like, why is it getting serious now? Like it just I don't know, it just kind of felt like a disservice. It's like, oh, she's in an abusive relationship. That's really dark, but the rest of the movie's not that serious in tone.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like when they do have serious tone, they do it like for like gags. Like what was it? The famous pizza gag that they did.
We'll get into that. But
Well, do you want to get into that now or do you want to wait?
I have one more thing just about the structure of the movie. I feel like they needed to just pick one thing and focus on it. I feel like if they spent more time at the house at the beginning of the movie, like I would have just had them start like you know how at the beginning of the movie they're at like another party with the couple and then they go have sex and then go home.
Yeah.
I feel like the movie should have just started the party is just at the house that most of the movie takes at and then spend more time with the other characters and like you can see the other characters like getting annoyed with that couple. And then just spend more time with all of them instead of when they get to the house then trying to develop all the other couples that you don't care about.
Yeah, because it was almost like they tried to have almost like a joke for every character introduction as they were arriving at the house, and like that was kind of it. They didn't really have a lot of time to get into it till
Yeah.
the end. Which I mean, was
Yeah.
that maybe the point of the movie? It's like, oh, everyone seems like a perfect couple, but they all have their problems.
Yeah,
when
that's
you
what I
look more
thought. It was like,
closely,
oh,
but-
maybe you don't know your friends as well as you think you know your friends, and that's why at the end of the movie they're like, we need new friends. But
like, is that the whole point of the movie? Don't have shit friends? Like,
yeah,
it's like,
don't have affairs. I don't know.
yeah, I don't know. It's just stupid. It's just I didn't care. And then like even and then in the ending it's kind of like a slap in the face too. Like it didn't really necessarily bother me because like they kept it ambiguous because like they purposely don't explain it when the guy gives the option to, and it's like oh it doesn't matter. And I think the point was oh it doesn't matter why you did it. You did it, and we're people. We have feelings. We can't just be messed around with. So it's like okay that's fine, but it's like it's still not really being ambiguous. Like.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like what could they not think of a better, clever ending or something that worked? Or it's not like it doesn't really make you think either. Like I wasn't like after they said that like I didn't care enough to be like oh I wonder if he did do it. I wonder if he didn't. I don't know. I don't know like a Coen Brothers movie. You know at the end of like what is it a Serious Man and stuff. They always kind of keep it somewhat ambiguous, but if you watch throughout the movie, it makes sense. It's like this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like they just did it to avoid like writing to
Yeah, like
tie it
Coen Brother
together.
movies always have like a weird ending, but it fits with the themes of the movie. But this movie happily didn't have any themes that I really consistent themes, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's just so all over the place. Like it's I guess it was ambitious, but I don't know. The jokes weren't that great. The horror elements were pretty much non-existent, other than like the soundtrack and like from a technical standpoint, there wasn't really anything horror in it, which was weird. The soundtrack felt so out of place to me for this.
Well, and they like set it up too with like the gun room, and then like she was having dreams of like the chairs in the forest.
Yeah, dude, the
Little
gun room
things
was
like
another
that.
big disappointment. Like they had that huge gun room, like, oh, this is gonna turn into like a bloodbath ending. Like maybe all their friends are
Yeah.
gonna be evil. It's gonna be like you're next or something. That's
Yeah,
what I
like a
was hoping
cult or
for.
something. Yeah,
But then, no,
yeah.
they didn't even go that route either. It's like, why have the gun room? Like, is like it's almost like the gun room itself is the joke. It's like the same problem with what was that movie, Wine Country, where they
Hmm.
all go to wine country, and then like the one girl, like they're all like having their wine, drinking, and the one girl's like, "Oh, want to do Somali?" And then everyone's like, "What? What?" And then
Oh
like,
yeah, then they don't take them
yeah, and
all.
then I think they even call back to it again. Like she holds up the bag. "Oh, you sure you don't want to do the Molly? Ha ha ha!" And then like that's it. They don't do it, and it's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
okay, well, that's the joke is that she has drugs. Like it's
Well, at least with that movie though, I don't think they had like a real script. They were kind of just playing off of each other.
oh yeah,
So
that makes sense.
so I think that makes more sense, but this movie definitely was not following that formula, and
No, this movie was definitely
the
everything
jokes that
felt
they
planned
broke,
out.
I think, were worse than the ad lib of Wine Country, which I also thought was incredibly not funny.
Yeah, what were some of your least favorite jokes in this one?
Okay, so in my notes, literally the only thing I wrote down for this movie were the jokes that I didn't like. So, so watching this, like you can tell, like it's not like grounded in reality, like the way people interact and like with the sci-fi stuff. So I thought maybe like part of this alternate reality that the movie takes place in is just this other world where jokes aren't supposed to be funny. And then
It's like
I
jokes
thought,
are just normal, like the invention of lying type thing,
yeah,
where it's like everyone's like, "What?"
yeah, it's just how they talk. So I was thinking back. So this movie, I did laugh twice. So it's technically better than Tom and Jerry, which I only laughed once. But some of the ones, the jokes are where the guy's in the pool and he's like rocking out, and then he looks at the camera and says, "That's why I play percussion." I hated that. It's so not funny, and he's there by himself too.
Nice
So he's
fourth
just,
wall breaking.
yeah.
Almost.
And then a lot of the other jokes felt like meme humor, and I feel like meme humor does not translate well in movies, especially like a movie that's not about teenagers. So like the one girl, I forget the actress name, her character was Patricia. She was really drunk and she was like, "Oh no, we're almost out of booze." And she's like, the main girl was like, "Oh, I'll go get the booze." And she's like, "Get the booze. Get all of the booze."
Yeah.
Not funny. That's like a meme. That's like a Reddit comment where people on Reddit think it's really funny, but not in real life.
Well, that was making me wonder, because what Joel McHale, he's the soup man. So like, I'm not particularly a big fan of the soup, and I didn't watch Community either, so I don't know what the humor's like in that show. But from what I've heard, it's not the best. But maybe if you like those shows and stuff, you would find this hilarious. I don't know.
I don't know. I just felt like the jokes were like written by like the writer's like 10-year-old son or something, where they're like, "Hey son, I need a joke right now," and then they're like, "Oh, when they get the booze, they have to get all of it." Or it's like, "Oh, I saw this meme where there was like a quote, and then someone was like, 'Who said that?' And then they're like, 'Bruce Lee, maybe.'" Like that's just like meme humor.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And for a movie that felt like they put so much attention to detail in like the filmmaking itself, with like a lot of slow pans and kind of like creepy atmosphere,
Yeah,
you would
yeah.
think the jokes they could have timed or did a little bit better.
Yeah, I feel like it was a very like technical film, like the way it was shot. But
Yeah,
then
it started off. I wouldn't say it started off good. I feel like the beginning just had a lot of sex in it, and like it's almost like them having sex was the joke. But then there's just so much sex, like it's just like overindulgent almost. And it's
well, that's
not
like the
even,
thing they
it's
say
just
you're a
weird.
perfect couple, and it's just because. But the only thing they show us is that they have sex a lot.
Yeah, and that's like too much. I was like, obviously they're not the perfect couple because they're kind of like sociopaths almost. They just don't give a fuck about the people around them. Cause
Yeah, they were assholes. I'd be mad if people were late every time we like met for dinner because they're just having a quick poke before they come.
Yeah, but it's just weird too because I almost feel like that doesn't even matter anymore for the plot. Like that's just something they do a lot of, and it makes their friends kind of mad. But it's like it doesn't really matter in the scheme of things. Like they could have just been overly happy, but like the sex was just a joke that they threw in there. And then it's like by the time they get to the house and they have the dynamic with the friends, it's almost like it doesn't even matter that they were trying to get the serum
I
to make them
feel
normal
like
people.
the sex was trying to like reinforce the themes because like he was like, "Oh, we don't have to fake it," and then they don't have sex, and then the girl says it back to him in the shower like the next day or something. So I feel like they were trying to send a message, but I didn't get it.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely some elements of like toxic relationships and stuff in it, but the movie's so jumbled and I don't know, at times takes itself seriously and at times is just really funny. It just any point it's trying to get across was lost on me.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about pizza.
The pizza scene. Oh, yes.
So, for those of you who haven't seen this movie yet, when two of the couples arrive together, they just look pissed off and they're like not saying anything, and it's really awkward when they arrive. And then the one friend, it's like, there's something in the trunk. You need to see this. So it sets it up like there's going to be like a dead body or something in the trunk. So then the host girl opens the trunk and it's pizza. And it's not just pizza, it's fucking pizza. So then it cuts to like the soup and his wife doing some shit, and then they come downstairs, and then the host girl is explaining what just happened to the rest of the people at the party, which is only one other couple, I think, at that point. And it's fucking pizza. It's just fucking pizza, and they keep saying it, and it just made me so mad because it was so not funny. It reminded me of Guardians of the Galaxy too. Like, oh, it was so not funny, and they spent so much time, and like for this movie where there's like so much going on, like why waste time with this stupid not funny joke?
Yeah, well, that's another thing where it's just kind of teasing you. Like, it's like, oh, it's gonna be kind of like a horror thing. Oh, is there a body in the trunk? And then they even talk about how that guy's like a prankster and he like pranked her in college a whole bunch. And it's like, oh, then it's maybe the whole thing was a prank. Maybe he was deceiving them because he's a bad friend. And then that's just another red herring that doesn't fucking matter at all.
And
it's just
it's
another character development plot for that friend that doesn't fucking matter.
Yeah, and it's more. I feel like the prank like direction that they're trying to go on is way more interesting than what they actually did.
But they don't even do any pranks in it. Like, that's the only kind of prank, right?
Well, I
like,
mean them. I mean, like them
ones.
trying to like figure out what's going on, like the soup and the girl.
Well, I wish they did more of that. Like, if they didn't trust their friends, that would have been really, like, if they went kind of the direction of, like, what was, like, The Thing, where they're stuck there and they don't know who's the alien or who's not. That would have been super interesting, but they don't do that either.
Yeah.
It's like they literally went the worst way they could have for the second half of the movie. Like, all of the cool things they could have done, they don't do any of them. It's like, why?
Or they were, like, part of a cult, too, and then, like, oh, we have to, like, sacrifice happy people or something. Like, that would have been cool, but...
Literally anything they could, anything they did, like, they could have gone any other direction than the way they went would have been better.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're trying to do with this movie. It's just, I don't know who their target audience was. Like, I don't know who would want to watch this movie. Like, I just can't think of a single person.
Well, it's one of those movies where I feel like it tricks you. Like, I Care a Lot, where there's all this like setup for these interesting ideas, and then they just go nowhere, and then just disappoint you at the end.
Well, at least, like, I Care a Lot kind of has a point to the movie.
Yeah.
Like, it's not perfectly done or not that well done, but at least it's kind of talking about, like, the old people being abused and kind of the ties between the healthcare system.
I just don't
criminals.
like being tricked. I don't want to be tricked.
No, it was definitely a deceptive trailer.
I don't want my calendar to be empty, and then last minute my boss puts a bunch of meetings up. I don't want to be tricked like that.
I don't want to be tricked. When I see fucking Joel McHale in a movie, I want those soup laughs. I want
to see him eat some soup.
I want to see him eat the soup. I don't want to see him eat the pizza.
Dude, so I really don't like Joel McHale, but I really didn't like him in this movie, and I couldn't quite put my finger on why. And then after the movie, I get on the Google and I type in middle schooler haircut, and his haircut is exactly the same as the first result. So he just has his stupid middle school triangle hair. Can you see? Oh, dear, you don't have video on right now, huh?
No.
I'm putting my fingers in a triangle like his hair on my head, because that's what it looked like, and it pissed me off.
So my big problem with Joe McHale going into this movie was, so I thought he was Tosh. I thought it was Daniel Tosh going in because he has his show Tosh.0, and I thought that was the same show and they're the same person. But going in, I'm like, this is not Tosh. I don't really like Tosh.
Yeah, Tosh
either.
Is
that
better
much,
than Soup.
But he's better than Soup.
Yeah.
He's better than Soup. So that was already a disappointment. I was like, damn, that's...
Yeah, now that I think about the Soup aspect, maybe he just forced those jokes into the script.
Maybe.
Because I feel like the jokes definitely were like meme jokes.
I feel like it's one of those things where the director had an idea for what he wanted to do for this movie, like a weird surreal type Twilight Zone that's like maybe a commentary on relationships or something that keeps you guessing, like kind of, I don't know, maybe more of like a weird art house type movie. But then since it had all these like comedians and big names in it, like Joel McHale, maybe they just kind of overtook the script, like, oh, we need to add jokes in, we got to have more jokes, this isn't
that's
funny.
What I think. I kind of got vibes from like the theatrical version of Justice League where they had to bring in the I forget the other director's name, but the guy who did the Marvel movies, and when they did all the reshoots, they just added jokes to it, and that everyone hated it.
Yeah, well, they did a bunch of fucked up shit. Like Snyder Cut, I mean, say what you want about it, it's still significantly better than the original theatrical version. But
Yeah, but I mean, they just, I feel like the jokes didn't fit with the rest of the movie, and it really bothered me.
Dude, nothing fit with this movie. Like casting Joe McHale as the main guy didn't fit with the movie. Like the jokes didn't fit with the movie. The horror elements didn't fit with the movie. Like, I don't know what they were trying to do with it.
And they actually had some funny people too. Like I really like Paul Scheer. He's been pretty funny. And then the one girl, Charlene Yee, she's been in a couple other things that she's usually really funny.
Yeah, she usually has small. I mean, she has a small role in this still too, but she's in like Knocked Up and like
Yeah.
a bunch of other like.
I mean, she
random
was funny in
cameos.
this for a couple scenes, but she just only had a little bit of screen time.
I did like the part where she's like getting in the car, and then she's like, "Can I come?" And I show. And then she like goes into the
Yeah.
the driver's seat and climbs over.
Yeah.
Like that was really funny. Some of that humor I liked, where she comes out of the shadows is really quickly and abruptly.
Yeah, she was like the only funny part. I guess the one guy who was like a huge asshole, and he was just like mean to the soup for no reason. I thought that was really funny. When
Yeah, when like, he offers him the beer and just ignores him the first time, and then he like pours it in the pool.
But I think it was just kind of meta humor because I hate soup so much that
Yeah.
I just was funny seeing him bully him.
Yeah, there was some funny, like some of it I liked. Like I like the idea of them being like the perfect couple. So like you're expecting like the soup guy to react a certain way when things happen. Like after they murder the guy, and then he comes back and the wife sees him, and she's like, "I see him. He's in the store." Like who? The guy we killed? And she's like, "Yeah, he's right here." Then he's like, then it's like a slow zoom, and you think he's gonna say like, "Oh, you're crazy," but like he's not gonna actually say that. And this, he's like, "Oh, you're right. I believe you." Like I thought that was kind of funny. I don't know if that was intentionally, but
Yeah,
it's
I
just
don't
like,
know if those were
it's just
supposed to.
saying what he wasn't supposed to say, or what you would expect kind of like a husband to say in that situation, which was kind of funny, but I don't know. It didn't carry me through the movie enough. It was just weird. There's just so many weird things.
Well, yeah, and then like the story is kind of told from Carrie Beech's point of view, but then it's like not at the same time. I don't know how to describe it, but like everything is kind of like from her perspective. I think it's like her interpretation of what's going around, but then at the end of the movie, she just like stops being in it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's this movie, like, it definitely didn't I mean, it definitely focused on her more than the other people, but yeah, it's not necessarily told from her perspective. It's kind of all over the place.
Well, I felt like she's like the main character, but then she doesn't interact with like anyone at all.
Yeah, and at first it kind of makes sense because they're trying to like play it cool and pretend like everything's fine, but then they're not. I don't know. This movie was just very weird. Very weird. I did like the other joke though, where he's on the phone talking about how they murdered the guy, and then the same asshole guy that poured the beer in the pool is like sitting there, and he's like, "Were you there for that whole phone call?" And he's like, "Why are you still talking to me?"
Yeah. That was my favorite joke in the whole movie.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. That was pretty funny too.
I wish they just all bullied the soup the whole time and tried to get them to leave.
I wish that in the movie, instead, like you know how they were initially not invited to the house. What should have happened was when they got uninvited, they kind of want to go, but they don't get invited back, and then the movie's just over after the first 20 minutes. That would have been great. Just end it there. Nice short film. They don't need to go in and explain anything.
I think they should have just injected the Mountain Dew into their butts, and then that could have been the end of the movie.
Yeah. Okay. So that was another question that was kind of weird. So that was, I felt like, handled just very, very strangely.
Yeah,
so
I
like
agree.
when he got injected with the green goo that's supposed to make them not happy anymore, or the Mountain Dew goo, whatever you want to call it. So they set it up like, oh, the one girl who wanted to sleep with Joel and have an affair with him injected him. So like she poked him in the butt with a needle but didn't inject him. So she just drained it in the toilet, I guess.
Yeah, it
Is that
showed
what
like that
happened?
scene where she just like squirts it on the floor or something. But yeah, but
But
it's
I
like
don't-
so stupid. Who would do that? Like no one would do that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the point. It's like, oh, these are really terrible, awful people. But like, I don't know. It's just weird. And then it's like she tried to convince him because she was really convinced that he was a bad person. So I guess that's the whole thing. It's like, oh, everyone's bad. But like, I don't know. That just felt weird. And then like, I thought the other girl, maybe she was going to inject herself with it too. But I don't know.
Well, yeah, and then too they had that whole setup too where they're like, does anyone know a scientist? And then they call that guy that was at the beginning of the movie, and then they leave the house before he gets there.
Yeah, I mean that was kind of. I think that was another one of those just kind of a joke, but it's just dumb and like you don't care. It's just stupid.
Yeah.
It's like it's kind of funny. Oh, they invited him. Then it's sad and he didn't actually get there. But it's like, but they did after the credits. If you didn't turn the movie off, he is having a date with Gretel, the Charlene Yee's character. So they got a happy ending.
Oh, good for him.
It all worked out in the end. Because yeah, she murdered her abusive boyfriend. But
yeah, I thought
that was another thing that was
really weird. Like it was weird that when they were doing like their little like circle time, that like they just came out that this character that had literally no lines like was abusing her, which felt weird already, and then they just go at the end of the movie and she just murders him, which also felt weird.
Yeah, well, everything about it, like they didn't feel like they were friends. Like it just felt like these were just random couples just in a house who didn't even know each other. Like the one asshole guy, he didn't interact with anyone in the house.
Yeah, he was just doing his puzzle.
Yeah, like it just there was no like dynamics between any of them really. It's like each couple had their problems, and just forcing them to all sit together, like why were they all? I don't know. I guess it was a weird circumstance. So
that's why I think they needed to spend more time. Like just skip the whole first part with the injection and thing. Just have everyone start at the house and weird things start happening, and develop these characters a little bit more so you care a little bit about their interactions.
Yeah, but it's like instead they just let's make some weird creepy atmosphere horror stuff, weird sci-fi shit, and just more sex jokes for the first like 45 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
And then after we have it kind of being weird and silly, then let's just say fuck it and go serious drama when you don't care about these people because you just see them as jokes or not real people because the tone's weird too.
Yeah, and then even like the lesbian couple, they have like literally no lines in the movie. Yeah,
they seemed like they were okay. Like they were barely even in. Like they could have not been in the movie, and it wouldn't have changed a single fucking thing. They didn't add anything. They didn't distract.
They didn't even have jokes. And I liked that the one girl is from Westworld, and I thought I liked her in Westworld.
Oh yeah, she was good in that.
Yeah,
it was just I don't know about this. I don't know about this movie. I don't know.
And then the thing too, I feel like the jokes distracted from like the actual funny parts. Like one thing I thought was funny is like when the Soup and his wife were explaining what happened with like the guy they killed to the rest of them. I feel like all of the people's reactions were really funny because like no one cared that they murdered him. They were just trying to figure out what was going on also. But they had to ruin it because like they showed like that shot where the camera is like outside
of the house when they're doing charades.
Yeah, and then it goes like, oh, I don't know why you needed to like act it out while you were explaining it. And that kind of just like ruined the scene because like the scene was already good of the people's like weird reactions to the story, but then they had to throw that joke in and
I mean for me I found it funny enough as is that they were like doing charades to explain it anyway, like oh that's silly, like that's just kind of dumb, and then but yeah, your point when they commented on it I'm like oh okay, well I don't need to be fucking pounded over the head. This is a joke. If you didn't catch that this was a joke, it's a joke now. Like I don't need to be fucking told when to laugh. Like at that point just add a laugh track to it. Like just add a fucking laugh track so I know. Like they had this like the really crazy horror music when you needed to know that this was a potentially creepy scene. Why not just add fucking laughs so you know when it's a joke? Like I don't want to think at all.
Let's do happily instead of the Snyder cut, it's the Playhouse cut, and we just add a laugh track so we know what parts are supposed to be funny and which parts
we
aren't.
know that would have been helpful for viewers like me who can't read into the complexities of this advanced movie plot, this high art house film. So you know. Oh, I did want to mention that Carrie Bichet, she was in Red State, that weird fucking movie that what's the guy? Yeah, the guy that did Tusk. Why am I blank? Kevin Smith directed. Remember the one where like the three boys they get captured by like that really weird religious conservative group, and then they're like kidnapped, and then the police come. They have that big shootout at the end. It's just a weird one. Anyway, she was one of the redneck people.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah, I think she had like a small part in Narcos too.
I didn't watch Narcos. I was the whole time like, what the heck was this girl from? And it was Red State, which is another better, not a great movie, but is much better than this one.
Yeah. Well, I told you too. Like, I really like Paul Scheer. I think he's pretty funny in most of the stuff that he's in, but in this one, they just gave him nothing to work with.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what would have made this movie better? Is if they had an extra couple from like Couples Retreat with Vince Vaughn in it.
Vince Vaughn, and oh shoot, what's the other lady's name? I can't remember that. I feel
Was
like
Jennifer
yeah.
Aniston, was she in it? Was Jennifer Aniston in that one? It's not Jennifer Aniston.
No, it's the girl from the Watchmen movie, but I forget the actress's name right now.
Let me look it up. Like we got IMDb open. Couples Retreat, Vince Vaughn in 2009. So we got Jason Bateman, Faison Love. Why is it listing all the men first? Malin Ackerman, Christian Bell, Christian Davis, Callie Hawk, and Tasha Smith. Those are the actresses.
I don't remember. So the main characters were Jason Bateman and
Vince Vaughn.
Mia Atman. Is that the main couple?
I think so.
And then who is Vince Vaughn's wife in that? Man, I'm gonna have to rewatch that masterpiece.
Yeah, I just love movies where it's like these really kind of gross old men with like in marriages or relationships where they're dating women that are like 20 years younger than them. that's just great.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, but I do think Vince Vaughn. I don't even think Vince Vaughn could have saved this one. Yeah, not great.
I feel like he could have been the asshole guy. I feel like that would have been.
Yeah, that would have been
pretty
okay.
good role.
Okay.
And I still think like Jack Black produced this movie. I think he should have been in it.
Yeah, he should have been.
Maybe he only makes movies better. He doesn't make movies worse.
That's true. He really elevated Jumanji. He was great in Jumanji.
I love the guy from Barry, but I feel like that would have been a very fitting role for Jack Black.
Yes, I think Jack Black would have done a better job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have a question for you. So the scene where like the guy, the Barry guy, is explaining or going to explain why that all happened and why he put them through it. What do you think he was going to say to like explain why they had to do it?
Dude, I don't know. It's just it's so stupid, and it's like, why would they not want to know? Because he's an asshole.
I guess because at that point they ruined their life. I guess so they didn't want to. They didn't care why.
I guess, but I mean, it's not really. He didn't really ruin it. They still had their own actions. Still responsible for their own actions. But I mean, he definitely was working like some type of higher power, and they said it was just like
Well, they were like
glitch.
glitches. Yeah, they were like glitches, and I'm like, one glitch is happens, but like, what are the chances of two glitches ended up in a relationship together?
Yeah, I just feel like it's one of those things where it's probably like some type of like natural balance or natural order that needed to be restored.
Yeah,
it's gonna cause the end of the world now because they didn't want to inject the Mountain Dew into their butts.
Yeah, well, it didn't even really need an explanation. Like, I don't even know why they even bothered doing it. Like,
well, then that whole other thing too. He's like, if I shoot you in the face, is it going to do anything? Nope. Okay, so I'm not going to shoot you in the face. It's like we already know that.
Yeah.
Like why are they explaining it again?
It's just another poor attempt at a joke. It's like, oh, it's like that type of humor you're talking about. Like, oh, you point out the joke to make sure viewers know it's funny, and then it's like they're trying to do like repetition humor. A lot, like, Marvel movies do that a lot, which is a big problem with the jokes. But I just like, if a joke's not funny the first time, that doesn't mean you should just say it again and that's going to make it funnier. Like, people aren't laughing because like they missed the joke. They got it was a joke. It just wasn't a good joke. That's why they're not laughing. Don't point it out again.
They have these funny actors, and like the circumstances were funny. Just let the actors like do their thing. Like.
Yeah, I feel like this is like one of those movies where it's like situational humor. Like the concept itself is funny enough. You don't need to add more of the silliness. But
like I feel like I said, the scene where they explained everything and everyone's reaction was like really funny. But then they had to ruin it with the jokes. I feel like if they spent more time on that type of humor, it would have been a really good comedy.
Yeah, and then I just don't. At the ending, it got so serious too. It's like, why would it get so serious? None of the rest of the movie is. Why do they decide just for that one part? And it's like that's the whole point of the movie. And it's like it's pretty dark in its tone for being like such a silly, stupid, like convoluted movie. Like I don't know. Maybe just my dumb boy brain didn't understand it.
What was that movie you told me to watch a while ago where it's like the girl and she's like a clone and the husband like murders her and then there's like another clone and she's like trapped in the house?
Oh, shit. I'm blanking on the name. I want to say it's like, It's like
Like they get married. It's like their wedding.
Yeah, it's like Emily clone Veronica's story. Oh shit! Hang on, I gotta.
Yeah, but the tone of this movie was like exactly the same as that movie, where it's like this big fancy house, very like dark, a lot of like red and blue lights, and that's like just like a straight up horror movie. And I feel like the tones were very the same, but this is supposed to be a comedy.
Yeah, I don't know. That movie, yeah, it's the same thing. It's like a horror movie about this girl, and you like expect her to be happy on her wedding night, but then it turns out she's just like a fucking clone and getting murdered.
Yeah.
It's called the Elizabeth clone or Emily clone or something like that.
Was it
Elizabeth Harvest? That's it. Elizabeth
Harvest.
Harvest.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, sorry for those that we probably spoiled it if you haven't seen it, but yeah, that's another movie that's done it well. But there's no jokes, but it still makes a good point on like a commentary on what marriage could be and like the toxic relationships. And
yeah, but like
the really well.
And the tone is the same as this movie. I feel like, but that movie is like straight up horror, and this one I looked it up on IMDb and it says a dark romantic comedy.
Yeah, not dark romantic comedy. It's just bad. I mean, I guess it is, but I feel like if you wanted like a darker romantic comedy, watch that the Duplass brother one, The One I Love. And it has the actress from The Handmaid's Tale. Yeah, it's another great movie. It's like a couple going to like a place to like, I don't know, fix their relationship. And then there's like a weird sci-fi element. There's also some kind of good comedy and dialogue. It's well acted, but it's kind of the same point. It has that weird comedy sci-fi blur, but it's done really well. And it's serious enough because you care about the characters. I didn't give two shits about the characters in this movie because they just were weird.
Because like, I don't know, are you supposed to feel empathetic towards like the soup? Because they're so annoying. Like they just are annoying they're just rude to everyone. Like I'd be mad too if I was having a party and guests can't use the bathroom because they wanted to have sex in it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess
that's not good etiquette. It's not good etiquette.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt kind of bad for the wife because Soup cheated on her. But I mean, that was about it. I felt for him. And then, like, of course, like the Charlene's character who was in the abusive relationship. But that's just because it's like fucked up. Like anyone going through that, you don't want to see. But it's like it's not like you don't actually care about them as characters because they're
But like the Soup and his wife, I feel like they just think they're better than everyone else because they're so in love and they just have like this annoying aura about them that they're looking down on all their friends because their relationship is so perfect and no one else's is, and it just like makes you not like them as much.
Yeah, and we already don't like Joel anyway from the Soup, so it's
and
like
his stupid middle schooler haircut.
Yeah, so they really needed to work hard to make you like him, especially since they spend so much time with him on camera. But they really don't do him justice. Like,
so I'm not a fan of this actor, but I feel like if they had Will Ferrell instead of the Soup, I think he would have fit well in this one. Yeah, just like him being like freaking out when the man with the Mountain Dew comes in and his interactions with all the other couples. I think Will Ferrell would really, really been good.
And then they could have had one of the other couples be John C. Reilly. Or they could have made it so John C. Reilly and Will Ferrell were the main two characters. They were just married. That would have been great if they were in it. I probably would have enjoyed it more. I don't know if I liked this movie less than I liked, what was it, Sherlock and Watson? Was that the Will Ferrell?
Yeah, or
Sherlock and Holmes. I want to say Sherlock and Holmes, but I know that's not right.
No, that's like what the actual
thing
is. Yeah,
yeah. I don't know. I think I would have to say I think I'd rather watch that Sherlock movie with Will Ferrell again than watch this one. I really didn't enjoy that movie. What about you? Which one did you like less?
I think at least like I think I liked this one less because I just didn't like being tricked. I told you I didn't like how thought it was going to be a comedy. At least with Sherlock and Watson or whatever, I knew what I was getting into.
Yeah, you knew it was going to be pretty bad.
I knew exactly what it was going to be, and I watched it after all the reviews came out, so I knew everyone hated it already.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to think of like this movie. Normally, when you watch a bad movie, you can kind of be like, "Oh, they could have done this and it would have been better. Or they could have gone this way." But this movie is just so bad. I don't even know how they could have fixed it. I don't know what they could have done differently to make this movie good. I guess they'd have to take out some of the
beginning
jokes.
And the end. Yeah,
take out the beginning and the end, so they're just in the house. Focus more on the characters. Yeah. Remove all like the dumb jokes because the absurdity of the movie's funny enough. They don't need to fucking point out the jokes. Maybe replace majority of the cast. And
then like even if they wanted to stick with like the Mountain Dew injection guy, I feel like the movie could start with that. Start with like how perfect their relationship is. Then the guy comes, explains the Mountain Dew, and then they go to they kill him and go to the house and make it like 15, 20 minutes top instead of like this 45-minute thing of them just like having sex.
Yeah, so the couple, they were supposed to be a happy couple. I guess they were happy because they were selfish assholes who just only cared about themselves. I don't know.
Yeah, they just had like a very condescending tone about them where they thought they were better than everyone else because they were so in love and had sex so often, but it just really made you like them less than you already did.
Yeah, well, it just made them seem inconsiderate to me. Like they just didn't really give a fuck. They're just in their own fantasy world, which I guess.
Yeah, I mean,
they're stuck in the honeymoon phase of a relationship. I guess is the idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be mad too if like these people were always late and it's just because they're having sex all the time and don't give a fuck about your plans.
And it's weird too because what is it? They go through the whole ordeal with the injections. They go to the house. They find out all their friends are shitty people on all their terrible stuff they have in the relationship. So it's like at the end of the movie, they're in the car and she's like, "Oh, we need new friends," and they just start having sex in the car in the middle of nowhere. So it's like, oh, they actually didn't learn a lesson. They were right. So then they're exactly the same as they were at the beginning of the movie. So there's no point. There's no lesson learned or anything.
Yeah, they're definitely going to go back exactly how they were, and like they don't realize that they're actually the assholes just as much as everyone else.
Yeah, is that maybe the point? Like, you're just in relationships and you're in a couple, you're just a piece of shit no matter what? Is that the theme? Like, you're either pissing off each other in the relationship or you're pissing off everyone around you.
Yeah.
Like, is that the point? I don't know. It's just
I don't know.
Waste of time and just waste of a movie.
I agree.
I wish I could get that time back.
I wish I could watch... No, actually, no, I don't want to watch Tom and Jerry again.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good question. I already asked you if you'd rather watch the Sherlock and Watson again instead of this movie, but would you rather watch Tom and Jerry again, or would you rather watch Happily?
No, I think I mentioned I laughed twice in Happily, and I only laughed once in Tom and Jerry, so I'm going to have to say Happily is the better movie.
Yeah. So far, I think we can both agree that as of what's today's date, March something,
March 27th.
March 27th. Tom and Jerry is still the worst movie of 2021 so far. Happily was a close contender, but not quite there.
Yeah. Well, after we do like a end of year episode, we can talk about the worst movies, and we'll see if anyone can usurp Tom and Jerry as for worst film of the Playhouse Reviews. Yeah.
Yes, I like that idea. End of the year, January 1st, 2022, we'll see what the worst movie of 2021 was. I guess we could take wagers. I'm not much of a betting man, but would you say your money's on Tom and Jerry, or do you think that Hollywood or someone will produce some pile of garbage that's even worse than Tom and Jerry?
I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of superhero movies coming out before the end of the year. So
yeah, I mean, to be perfectly honest, the Snyder Cut, I mean, it was a fine superhero movie, I guess. We have our problems with superhero movies, but it's probably going to be harder to get a better superhero movie than Snyder Cut, to be honest.
Well, my big thing is Tom and Jerry is a bad hour-and-a-half movie, where a superhero movie is going to be a bad 2.5-hour movie. So
yeah. Well, anyway, so Happily, would you recommend this movie?
I would not. Anyone? There's so much better movies out there. I don't waste your time on this soup movie.
Yeah, if you want to watch kind of like a horror type movie with a similar concept, watch Elizabeth Harvest. If you want to watch more of a kind of comedy drama that has a sci-fi twist, watch The One I Love, the Duplass brothers.
And then even if you want like a more generic movie, go and watch Game Night with Jason Bateman. It's a dumb movie, but it knows what it's doing, and I feel like it's kind of the same vein as this one, where it's a bunch of couples, except they go to game night and horror and jokes happen.
Yeah,
but it's way better than this.
Yeah, I feel like this movie is all over the place. I don't know what they're trying to do. They didn't do a twist well. They didn't do a social commentary well. They didn't do a good drama well. It wasn't a good horror movie. The only thing it really did well was some of the scenes looked nice. If it was a horror movie, the director could probably make a good, solid horror movie. Like,
I feel like if they just re-edited the footage, they could make this into a good horror movie.
Yeah. This movie was a train wreck. What a mess! This was a mess of a movie, to say the least. I can't think of anyone I know who would enjoy this movie. I think I said something similar earlier, but people who are looking for like a silly romantic comedy wouldn't like this movie because it's not really that romantic. It's not that funny. people who are looking for kind of the more interesting kind of weird sci-fi movie. This is not good either. Oh, we're looking for like maybe more of a horror movie. It's not a good horror movie. Oh, what about just a normal drama about couples in a not great relationship? Terrible from that lens too. Like there's no matter how you look at it, it fails from all the different things it was trying to do.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, don't watch it. Don't watch it. It's not even one of those movies that's so bad. It's like, oh, it's kind of laugh at how bad it is. It's just like not a good movie that I don't know what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, that's it. Any other final thoughts on Happily?
No, I could watch Slaxx, don't watch Happily, and see you next week.
Yep. See you next week. Again, if you made it this far into the podcast, please give us a like and subscribe to our videos so you can be notified right away as soon as we upload our next episodes. Alrighty, until next week. Bye-bye.